Boromir was thankful for the small mercy of a clear sky over the following nights. He'd been keeping Brongil to his left since leaving the Greenway. The North Star was much better company than the kind he'd had over the last few weeks.
Is that how long it's been?
It must be well into October by now.
Those warm summer nights in the cracked flagon in Aldburg must seem like last year.
He listened to the rhythmic squelching of his wet boots as he trudged along. The damp cold was deep within him now, strangling his bones. His boots had never fully dried since Tharbad, and he suspected that they were starting to rot. And now a constant frigid wind was at his back, wrapping his cloak around him like a cocoon. He started to hum a well-known ballad from Belfalas, then falteringly and softly started to recite the words of a drinking song.
Hey ho, to the bottle I go, to heal my heart and drown my woe. Rain may fall and wind may blow, but there's still 300 miles to go.
Boromir had taken Halbarad's advice and had journeyed by night, resting in whatever hollow he could find during the day. At dusk, he'd woken from a fitful sleep against a standing stone, one of a circle of huge slabs, ancient beyond reckoning. Unlike the one he'd found in the middle of the Swanfleet, these were unmarked. He'd set out his traps downwind of his camp, but by late afternoon they were empty. It was as though life had forsaken the land. The night and the unchanging landscape gave him a feeling that he wasn't actually moving. The journey from the ford to the Greenway had put him much further west than he had guessed, it seemed. He had no inkling of the distance he'd walked since leaving the Ranger, nor of how many more nights he would spend trudging like this through the dark. Not for the last time, he longed for Lostel. Tonight, the waning gibbous moon was low in the southeast, gliding between rushing silver clouds. Its light made the land a monotonous grey. He felt them before he heard them. Like all Gondorians, Boromir had been taught from an early age that the night was full of dangers, that fell things prowled in the dark. Spiders lurking under his bed, orcs hiding behind his curtains. And even in the confines of Minas Tirith, he was often woken in the middle of the night by nightmares. That presence, that feeling, was with him now, as though he'd woken in his chamber as a boy. A strange shadow cast by dim moonlight, the flutter of a curtain, and then the terror, when the boy turns his head and looks askance at the night ghast standing at the foot of his bed, staring at him in the dark. The pure, paralyzing fear. Now, he heard the churning thudding of hooves on the hard turf behind him, a snort from one of the horses, the ragged hiss of their breathing. The terror felt like being disemboweled, scooped out. It was all the more horrific for being unaccountable. Theodred had been right. The fear followed them like a vapor. As the horses drew alongside, Boromir smelled their putrescence, as though these mounts were undead. But as he looked askance at one of them, he saw that it was of flesh and blood. Like Eomer had said, they might have been huge black stallions of Rohan, but the eyes, like burning coals, spoke of corruption. These poor beasts, through unspeakable black sorcery, were utterly enslaved to their masters. He turned his head back, slowed his pace, his thighs trembling and weak. The horses slow with him. Boromir's heartbeat echoed the regular thudding rhythm of the hoofbeats. A cold sweat made his forehead ache. He felt an overwhelming urge to reach for his sword, but all of his remaining reason was bent on staying his hand. He could feel the riders glaring at him. Boromir finally came to a halt, and the Nazgul stopped with him. Boromir stared at the ground a few yards ahead, his heartbeat filling the long silence. The one on his right sniffed like a wild beast might when seeking its prey.
"Bring it to your city,"
the thing hissed. Boromir slowly raised his arm, pulling his shield strap up. The riders continued to stare at him. The terror now had substance. He had seen the effects of the black breath on his men. He saw himself slipping into dark, cold sleep, never to wake. After what seemed an hour, the second rider drew a blade from its robes and held it before Boromir, turning it in the dim moonlight. A long rondel dagger with a curved crossguard. Boromir held his breath as the rider reached across and hooked the blade behind the collar of his cloak. He felt it grate against the silver wing-shaped tip where the cord was tied. Then he felt a sharp tug, and the cloak dropped from his shoulders. The rider withdrew the blade and sheathed it.
Bring it to your city.
Spurs jingled, and the mount walked forward and away into the dark. The other rider followed. Boromir, unable to move, watched them disappear. At last he dropped to his knees and sobbed. Finduilas was silent for a long while, and he was reminded of his childhood.
All those tantrums you would throw as a boy, all those petulant demonstrations, always over some innocuous thing, and I would stand and stare at you, waiting patiently for you to stop bawling and whining.
Boromir sat back on his haunches.
This is why you are traveling to Rivendell, Boromir. Seek for the sword that was broken. Bring it to your city.
For Isildur's bane shall waken.
Boromir moaned with wondrous realization.
In Rivendell,
There shall be shown a token.
your father's letter.
But it is...
Has it not occurred to you, Boromir, that many of those who have helped you on your journey have known who you are and where you are going?
emissaries and allies of Elrond.
The sword is yours, son of Gondor.
Boromir looked out into the darkness.
The shards of Narsil, reforged in Minas Tirith for the glory of Gondor.
With such a weapon, Boromir, son of Denethor, captain of the White Tower, can claim the throne of Gondor, a mighty king, the bearer of such a sword.
A king who might overthrow Sauron, deliver the people of Gondor beyond hope, and lead them to glorious victory over Mordor.
Perhaps this was the essence of his father's letter. An introduction to Elrond, greatest among the elven race.
Gondor has ever sought your wisest of counsels, Lord Elrond, and it is of deepest regret that I cannot confer personally with you in these most urgent of matters. I therefore humbly ask the most benign diligence of your serenity to accept the arrival at the honorable presence of your excellency, my son and heir, Boromir, whom I have prevailed upon to travel to you without expense of delay.
A promise that the world of men shall prevail against the Dark One, and that Lord Boromir, Captain General of Gondor, will lead the van.
The great river flows swift and clear over swaying weeds where carp rest. The serenity is shattered as something dark and heavy plunges into the water. One of the large fish darts upstream. Above the surface, the muffled sound of warfare. The carp swims onward against the mighty flow of the river. Ahead, something small and shiny falls into the water, its trail of tiny bubbles glittering in the moonlight. The hungry carp rushes towards it, sees it sink to the riverbed. But now he darts away as another dark shape, a man, his chest sprouting many arrows, falls into the river. The carp stays away until the water clears, then returns for the morsel.
But grandfather,
Says Boromir.
if he took it from the Dark Lord, did he not use it for good?
Boromir is 5 years old. He sits on grandfather's knee on one of the benches in the courtyard of the White Tree. He is wearing his favorite best ivory tunic.
Well done, Boromir. You've been listening. A good leader is a good listener. I suppose Isildur meant to use it for good, to bring prosperity to the North Kingdom, to protect his people from their enemies. Isildur considered the ring an heirloom of his house. It was, after all, a worthy prize.
Boromir looks into his eyes as they glaze over. The old man's white hair trembles in the breeze.
But it was then that it betrayed him.
Betrayed him. How can a ring be treacherous?
As he tried to escape, the ring slipped from Isildur's finger. The orcs shot him with many arrows and he fell back into the river. It is said that his body was carried all the way to the Great Sea.
What happened to the ring?
it was lost. Perhaps it too made its way to the sea. Or perhaps for the last 3,000 years, it's been hiding at the bottom of the river, waiting to be found.
Boromir looks at his grandfather in wonder.
Now run to your mother.
Grandfather hugs him and points across the grass at Finduilas. She too is sitting on a stone bench in a bluish gown, holding Boromir's baby brother in her arms. Beside her sits father, his dark hair tied at his neck, his arm wrapped around mother.
Go,
says grandfather, planting Boromir on the white stone.
I'm sure your new brother misses you.